Okay, great. We're going to go ahead and get started here in just a couple seconds here. I'll just introduce myself. My name is Eric Bengal. I'm the Communications Director at American Destiny Real Estate. I've been with the company since 2017. Um, I work from home these days, which is nice. I've met probably most of you at one time or another. I've probably been on a mastermind with one of you guys probably earlier today. So we do a lot of calls, we do a lot of outreach. Our goal, especially here at American Destiny, is to make sure that our agents are well versed in all things REO. That you guys know what the clients need, what their criteria are. There's different players now. There's different things that they're asking from us, especially some of the newer clients that we're working with. So today was going to be an event with Easy Knock. However, unfortunately, they're in Houston. And if anybody's been following the news, most of Houston still doesn't have power. So without power, there's no internet either. So one of our associates, Larry White, did manage to get out of Dodge. He's up in Montana, but I don't think he'll be joining the call with us today. But he was lucky to get out of town. He actually was delayed a couple days from getting out of town. So we're not going to have Easy Knock on the call today, but we do have a backup plan, and our backup plan is Darren Cottrell is going to be on the call with us today, going over some stuff regarding American Destiny. Barry Owens, hopefully, is going to be able to jump in, talk about end-to-end solutions. We also asked a couple of our trainers. We have Robert Welcart that came on today. He's a trainer. He does REO certification trainings. Pretty high level. So I'm going to see if he can talk a little bit about what some of those trainings look like and some of the things that he's going over with his agents. I know he trains hundreds, maybe thousands of agents every year, so it's pretty high level. And we also have Jeff Russell and Kelly Jones with Russell Realty Group, who host their own mastermind event on the third Thursday of each month. They're on the call with us as well today. So we're going to try to get some feedback from them as well. But before we start the call, just wanted to find out if anybody's had any wins or any good stuff happening over the course of the last month. We have 45 people on this call. I'm sure somebody's going to be able to give us a win here.
Eric, this is Ed Aquino.
Ed, what's going on?
Good, everything good. Just wanted to say thank you to you guys. I had my first ADR closing yesterday. Went over very well with the help of Regina, of course, who is always there to help me with the transactions.
Fantastic, Ed. It's always a pleasure to see that the transactions go forward, but even better when they go smoothly. Congrats on that. Any other wins from anybody in the group since last month?
I've had a few offers that have been accepted, and I have a closing tomorrow and one on Monday.
Well, good job, Katrina. And you had one last week too, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, yeah, I thought I saw that. So very good. Good job.
Thank
All
you.
right. Well, let's get into the agenda. And if anybody has anything to say during the course of the call, we'll kind of make this call a little bit more mastermind, a little bit more open-ended, where you guys can ask questions as you need to or throw things into the chat. I'll be trying to monitor the chat as we go along here. I've gotten a little better at multitasking. Just wanted to make sure everybody's received the newsletter for July. It went out the first week of July. And just so everybody knows that our newsletter will always go out the first week of the month. And sometimes it takes 2 or 3 days for the newsletter to get out to everybody since we have such a large database that we use. We use a company called SendGrid that helps us send the emails out so that they don't end up in people's spams folders. But unfortunately, a lot of them still do. So just be sure to check your spam folder every month. They should come from my email address, which is ebengal@adr-usa.com. But hopefully, we're trying to work that out. Also, if you're attending 5-Star in September, which I know a lot of you on this call probably are, I'm going to throw a form in the chat. Now, if you've already filled out this form, don't worry about filling it out again. But one of our goals while we're at 5-star is to be able to meet with you, have a brief conversation, get to know you a little bit better, some FaceTime. So by filling out that form, that'll go to a spreadsheet that I've been keeping for myself, Darren, the rest of the team here at American Destiny Real Estate, where we are planning on bringing a few of us down in Dallas. We actually have some staff that currently work out of the Dallas market, so it's kind of nice. It's just just they can drive over for the day. So it's going to be a very nice event. We're looking forward to it. Today's agenda. We're not going to have Easy Knock on the call. However, Allison Sasson, who is the sales director that wanted to talk about to us about the program today, gave me her calendar link. And I'm going to put that in the chat just here in just a couple minutes after I introduce Darren to the group. But I'd encourage you to set up a call with her. And the reason why I encourage you to do that is because it's some one-on-one time with Ashley. She's made that offer to the agents in our group. She wants to tell you a little bit more about how Easy Knock works. We'll bring them back certainly to our mastermind call in the next month or so, whenever they're when they don't have these issues with lack of internet. But take some time and make the time to talk with Ashley. It's in your best interest to be on everybody's radar, so everybody out there knows that you're ready, willing, and able to take these assets. But she can definitely give you some guidance on the Easy Knock product, and I think it'd be really good if you did that. So I'm going to find that link while I turn this over to Darren. So I want you to introduce everybody to Darren Cottrell. Darren is the owner of American Destiny Real Estate. Been in business for several years. We're REO referral agency. Darren, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you guys want to talk about today?
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it. Hey, welcome everybody. Appreciate you jumping on. Apologize for a hurricane hitting Houston and taking out our our party that was Ashley was all teed up. Michelle from Easy Knock. They've been a great client of ours for a number of years. They're a reverse purchase leaseback company that we do a lot of business with. So hopefully we'll get that rescheduled. But I agree with Eric. I'd click on the link. It's in your best interest to set up a time with her, find out a little bit about the programs they have going on right now. Because again, one of the things we're going to roll out when we do have her on next month probably is these different programs that they have and the advantages. It definitely comes into play when you're working with a client that has some certain situation that's a very difficult situation. They don't want to leave the house, but they do need funds and they do have equity in their property. So it's kind of right in line with a lot of people we deal with right now. So I would definitely try to schedule something with her. But as towards ADR, I mean, we started in 2008. We're an full asset management company. Soup to nuts, you name it, we can do it in the real estate space. We rolled out end-to-end, gosh, Barry, 3.5 years ago, going on 4, right?
Yeah.
3.5 to 4 years ago, Barry and I have been buddies for a long, long time. Had an opportunity to roll out an eviction based company, which has quickly expanded to pretty much all the different facets in the default space, from anything legal to anything inspection wise, to again anything in the real estate space as well. So it's really taken off. So we're really excited about what's going on with end-to-end on its space. It's definitely helped us jump into the SFR world, which has been a big place for us to do a lot of dispositions and also acquisitions and some other inspection work we do with those guys. With that, let me pivot, Barry, let you give a little introduction to yourself and then talk a little about end-to-end, and then we'll roll from there.
Yeah, hi everyone. Many of you, we've known each other for quite a while, but my name is Barry Owens. As Darren mentioned, founded End-to-End Solutions. It'll be 4 years at the end of this, coming up at the end of this year when we founded it. One of the most of my background, as most of you know, has been in the REO and default world. Many years at ResNet and US Res. I worked at Single Source, as well as a number of different technology companies, Accelerus, Orange Grid, you name it. Seems like I'd been almost everywhere at this point, but very fortunate we were able to start up this company. We've gotten a lot of traction in it. And I think one of the things that, I am disappointed that Easy Knock couldn't make it today, but for very obvious reasons. But it goes back to the message. Eric Delgado from MCM Capital, Templeview, and myself were on a panel probably about a year and a half ago. And we were talking about the need to diversify. You know, if you're an agent, you have to have a lot of different weapons in your arsenal. And that is exactly what Easy Knock does. You know, provides you with a different set of weapons that you can approach clients to for on the list side, as well as getting the disposition at a later date. So really just a phenomenal product for everyone. And I'm sure we'll get some time to talk about that at 5-Star when we all meet there. And I'm sure we'll have them on another call once everything settles down in the Houston area. But yeah, founded the company as basically an eviction platform. It's morphed into many other things at this point, basically a complete default solution. So it's been, we've been extremely happy with the results with it. Very thankful for, the efforts that everybody, a lot of you guys are working with us today already. Very appreciative, of the help with on the inspection side, the disposition side, you name it. So, but appreciate everybody taking the time to join us today.
Hey, Barry, why don't you take a second, talk a little bit about the Cash for Keys program, because one of the things we talk a lot about, and we can take this opportunity of Easy Knock being here, that we have a number of conversations going on with folks on this call, some of you, with potential clients for us on a national level. Everybody should know that, but just to reiterate, we're in all 50 states and all US territories. So pretty much anywhere and everywhere that someone needs business to be had, we can take care of it, right? So when I say this, there's this mailbox money is what I call it. It's just an opportunity that if you have a great relationship with a company and you do business with them, and you want to have an opportunity maybe to expand your footprint and be able to drive business to us, all we need is an introduction. Because right now, and Barry will expound on this, but the benefit, I guess, right now is we're getting some great traction. Our model is pretty unique on the ADR side. On the end-to-end side, it's definitely a void that needs to be filled with some competence when it comes to the eviction world and just the inspections, et cetera. It's it's kind of like a wild, wild west kind of scenario right now. And we put guardrails up on that process, and the clients are astounded to the fact they typically start off in doing a cash for keys or an eviction model. The next thing they're saying is, hey, what else can you do? Because you're doing this so well, we're thinking that you probably could do something else for us. And our reply has changed from, well, we do this, to now our response is, well, what do you need at this point? Because we can pretty much do anything that they ask. The reason I bring that up is, if you do have relationships out there with a servicer or a big bank or a small hedge fund, whatever it would be, and then you want to just say, hey, by the way, I have a solution you might want to entertain or talk to these guys. They do a great job. They're national. They can help you out anywhere. All we do is have a call with them. If we can get that teed up and rolling, that's just a great way for us to help you as well. So it's a little bit of a partnership between the two of us.
Yeah, I think that's really good for agents to know. And if anybody needs more information on that or wants to ask questions, I threw my contact information in the chat. You can reach out to me. I will filter. Anytime anybody has a question or anytime anybody has a suggestion, and a lot of suggestions have been coming up with how to run bid on homes better or some different pitfalls. I bring all those to the management team and they listen to what you guys say. They take those suggestions and they make the necessary changes. And those changes wouldn't be known about or heard about if it wasn't for the people in the trenches. And that's one of the reasons why we do this monthly call, is so that we can get some feedback directly from our agents. But we can also let you know about different programs we're running or different things that we're doing. But what Darren said is very, very important. There's opportunities that we could potentially be having with other clients to bring you more listings, and we just need to have that introduction. So I think that's a very vital point. Is there anything? Go ahead, there, Barry.
Yeah, Brian. So as an example, we have guy who's been a personal friend of mine for close to 20 years now, but is in our network, and brought us an opportunity that is going to be very significant. As much as you can say that in the REO side of the business right now, but basically they're an aggregator in the what word am I looking for? The not in the mortgage space, but more in the, well, it is in the mortgage space, but the credit union space. And so we're working on that deal. And then that was something that was brought to us because, hey, he knows we have a great network. We do great job across the country, and can have that kind of coverage that his client needs. So, there are going to be those opportunities out there. And obviously, we greatly appreciate the relationship, and reciprocate when those type of situations arise. So, and they are definitely out there. Easy Knock is going to be, I think Easy Knock for some of you, in particular states, Texas, Florida, but they are across the country as well. But you're definitely going to see a lift up from that. So, and a lot of these situations are going to arise that are coming to us from our agent network. And again, we're very appreciative of that. And that's one way to kind of work your way in. As Darren mentioned, just get us a call set up. We bring a very unique solution to the market. So this isn't something where, well, there's 18 other people doing what we do. Nobody else does what we do on the eviction side. Nobody. So we're very unique. It does open up a lot of opportunities. So again, greatly appreciate any type of introductions that you could provide for us.
Yeah, thanks for that, Barry. Is there anything now? We saw a pivot right after COVID. It's not the same traditional REO space. I think we've been talking about this now for at least the last half year. And the question I get, more than anything else is, when is traditional REO going to open up? And I think we've answered that question a number of times. But tell, Darren or Barry, explain, can you just give us a little bit of input as to how did all these other relationships start? I mean, did they just, I'm sure they've been building over years, but when you see differences in the market, like different players, and now we've capitalized or not we've captured a lot of that market share with these opportunities. How do you think that happened?
Honestly, Eric, I was typing an email. You gotta help me out with that. I'm sorry. What was the question?
Oh, basically, we have all these opportunities now that we never had before in a totally different type of REO. We've never experienced this before. Where do you think this came from? Is it just, it wasn't luck. You guys have been doing something differently. The types of people you've been talking to.
It kind of makes me breaks out. It kind of helps me break out in hives thinking about the last 3-4 years, because we had to pivot so much and create some all new verticals. Just like everybody on this call, you have to find a way to survive. We built out our traditional market database. We jumped in some other aspects. And one of the most advantageous things we've ever done is kick off the end-to-end on the eviction side. That got us into is the SFR space. And everybody knows that the single family rental space has been booming for a long time. They were buying anything and everything. A couple of years ago, they pivoted away from that and stopped purchasing. And now they're going through a little bit of a pruning and kind of a reestablishing where their best returns are, doing a reevaluation of that. But, back to your point of where we're survivors, just like everybody on this call. You just got to figure out the best way to keep going. What can you jump into? What can you do? We've continued to build out our property preservation space, for repairs and turns. A lot of things that we didn't do 3, 4, or 5 years ago, we now do. So it's just a matter of continuing to grow, continue to find ways to add value to our clients and solve their problems. And honestly, one of the biggest caveats to that, I'll let Barry jump on it, because I think a cash for keys, for instance, when I brought that up, that is resounding right now with anybody you deal with right now that's one of your clients that owns a lot of properties. They have squatters or they have an eviction problem, and there's no great solution out there at all. And what when Barry founded this and came to us with the idea, we thought it was a phenomenal idea. But Barry, famously, we know one of our partners says, well, not every idea always works out. So the beautiful thing is this thing has worked out extremely well. It has tons of traction, and because it's in a space that is extremely difficult. The eviction space, the eviction space period is typically a model that clients will send their files over to an attorney, and then they'll wait to see what comes back, and they don't know, and they'll get a big bill at the end or during the whole process, and they're like, this is not efficient. Someone has to figure something out. Now, the only problem we've run into is the fact that we haven't been in front of enough people. People still don't know who end-to-end is on the eviction and the eviction space. So that's why I kind of threw that out earlier. Once they find out and say, hey, you got a solution for me that's not just throw it in this big black hole and wait till it comes back with a big bill. So with that, Barry, I'll pivot and let you take a chance and run with that, because it's so true.
Yeah, to get back to Eric's starting point, I mean, it's years and years of relationships. I mean, I started in mortgage default in 1990, and started in collections, went into foreclosures, and obviously a lot of conferences, hundreds of them probably at this point. And we've just developed those relationships over many, many years. A lot of work, a lot of great performance. Building a reputation on getting results, and we've just been able to keep on to our relationships and build into that. And to Darren's point, one of the things that which is great in the mortgage side, but in the SFR side, single family rental side, we didn't have those contacts. That wasn't our space. So we've spent the last, basically 3 years going headfirst into it and building that market up. And so this is, basically this is us at the infancy stage of trying to make contacts. And to Darren's point, end to end, with the solutions that we bring to the table and the cash for keys, the squatters, just handling the evictions, it's opened up a lot of doors for us, and it opens up those opportunities to get the listings in the back end. And I know, because I've got personal friends that are agents, and they get, everybody gets very cautious with, they're getting 1 or 2 listings a month from this client. They don't really want to turn them on to anybody else because, well, what if something happens and then I get pushed out? But I mean, bottom line is, you send an opportunity like that to us, you're not going to get pushed out, for one. And for two, it's a way to absolutely, put your flag into the ground with us that, hey, we are truly partners in this. Not, and I hate the word just, but not just a vendor, because I mean, we're more than a vendor to our clients. At least I hope we are. But that, to Darren's point, the cash for keys programs, the squatter programs that we're running, people want to hear about them. If we get an actual opportunity to talk to somebody, they want to know about it. What are you doing? And when we do get in front of them, just like this last IMN, a lot of you know those conferences. They have single family rental conferences. We were just in Miami, I guess it was early last month. One of the gentlemen, in May, one of my panel members was like, why have we not talked to you before? And, in my head, I was thinking, well, I've never heard of you guys. And they're not small. I'd never heard of them. Because they were in a space that none of us grew up in. Darren, myself, Tanya, anybody on our team, nobody's really worked in that space. So we don't know the contacts. We don't know the playing field. And I know that some of you guys are getting some listings from them now. And that's, we can monetize that for you too. There's other ways that we can take care of you, not just in like kind of sealing your fate with making sure that you're a permanent partner with us, but there's other ways that we can monetize that, as Darren mentioned, the mailbox money earlier. So don't be afraid to bring us conversations. I mean, you don't have to divulge who it is right off the bat until you get comfortable, but there's a lot of ways to monetize this in a lot bigger way than you are right now with, maybe a listing or 2 a month. So always keep that in mind and keep us in mind.
So I'm going to open it up for questions after this, now. Then we have a couple other agenda items that we can talk about with some of the other guests that we have on the call. But does anybody have any questions right now about, what Barry and Darren have been talking about for the last 20 minutes or so? Okay, well, I can move on. If you do have a question or something comes to mind, you think about it, or throw it in the chat. I've been monitoring that as well. Tomorrow we also have another mastermind. We actually have the chief marketing officer of a very large real estate company. It's going to be Larry White's guest. Her name is Wendy Forsyth. And I'm gonna put that link in the chat for you guys so that you can attend that tomorrow. It was in the newsletter also, but just in case you don't have that link handy, I'm gonna go ahead and make that available. We did ask a couple other people to come on the call today. Robert Welcart is a certified coach, success coach. He's also a trainer for REO certification for a real estate company brokerage. And I wanted to ask, if it's okay, Robert, if I can ask just a couple questions about some of the things that you talk to your students about, or I don't know if I call them students, but you people that are taking the certification classes. Would that be okay? Or
Absolutely, absolutely.
okay,
No, happy
so
to be on.
okay, yeah, great. Thanks for being on, because I think this is is pertinent. 'Cause I know we've been talking a lot about certifications over the last year, and I know Bubba Mills does a certification that a lot of us have taken. Really great certification. I know that NAR has a buyer accreditation class that they do. I've seen courses on Bid on Homes, ResNet. I do one through my EXP brokerage. I take the certification through there. What are some of the things, what are some of the things that you're teaching the students or the agents? Some of the high points. What are they wanting to know? What are you needing to make sure that they're certified in whenever you're doing these classes?
Well, you hit the nail on the head. Bubba's class is probably the best that I've seen. But NADP has really amazing training. It used to be called REO Mac. A lot of you know who that is, obviously. 5 Stars got great training. I think that if you're involved in that kind of atmosphere, you're involved and positioned. I think that's really the main thing. But what I tell my students or my agents or the agents that I train, coach and mentor all over the country, it's about positioning. I'm a full-time real estate broker, and I work with the lowest hanging fruit on the seller tree. I pay attention to the notice of default and the notice of trustee. In my market, I'm in San Diego. So I'm paying attention to that as it relates to a pre-foreclosure process. I feel it's an obligation of mine, at least, to reach out to the folks in my market that are in distress, that are having some issues. Maybe it's a notice of default. They can write that ship pretty quickly, where it goes into a notice of trustee sale, where they're staring down the barrel of a foreclosure. I think it's our job, our duty, to reach out to those folks in our market, and provide them with solutions so they can, because about a very, very high percentage of the sellers that I speak to on a regular basis, they all want to keep their home. And I think that's great. And I want to help them keep their home. I don't want to see anyone lose a home ever. However, I don't have a lot to say about that. So I want to reach out to those folks in the NOT space, and see what we can do to cure what's going on in their world. In many cases, they want to keep it, but in many cases they can't. So I want to be a resource for them to allow them to get the highest and best price, obviously in the shortest amount of time, because we are on a time clock. So I'm working with the pre-foreclosure market very, very bullishly, knowing that it's keeping me in tune. It's keeping me plugged in to the post foreclosure space. So that's where I've been focusing on. That's what I've been coaching, training, mentoring agents all over the country on. Be a resource in your real estate market. There's some markets that sure have heavy volume. There's some markets that don't have anything. And again, we don't want anyone to lose their home, but we want to be a resource for those corporate sellers, as Darren and Garrett have mentioned. So I think what I'm like, again, just real recap, what I'm really emphasizing on is being a resource, help them keep their home. Because I tell you what, if you help somebody, a home seller that's in distress, keep their home through the direction that you've provided them, you may not get a real estate commission, but guess what? Something much bigger comes, and you've got a raving fan forever. So you help somebody keep their home, I'm telling you, it gives you goosebumps, and it feels good knowing that you're plugged into the pre and post. That's really kind of what I focus on.
So now, Robert, I'm sure you've had the opportunity to have discussions with the heads of the departments, on what they're looking for, like what the syllabus will look like for an REO certification. I mean, what have they told you that these agents, maybe some of the areas that they're lacking when it comes to training and where they need to get enhancements? And besides the certification class, I mean, I don't know where else agents would find this except from the School of Hard Knocks, but what else could you suggest as far as, things that an agent could do better and they could focus on? And remember, we have veterans, and we have agents on here that probably been doing this 30 years. So we don't want to belittle or sound like we're what's the word? We don't know that you already have the experience, but it's a different atmosphere out there than it was 4 years ago. And what have the executives been telling you that should be the focus of these certification classes?
I was just on a three-way call with my asset manager and the owner of the company just yesterday on a property that we have. We did some repairs to the property. I mean, it was banged up from the beginning. Took 2 years to get the occupant out. So it was in very poor condition. We went in and rehabbed the property, but what they want is honesty. Is this going to get us the net highest price? Be honest with us. Don't just tell us what we want to hear. Sure, we can tell them what our opinion of the value is, but oftentimes they'll come in much higher. But as long as you're honest and upfront and tell them, exactly what it's going to take to sell this property. Sure, you can throw a little lipstick on a pig, but is it going to be a full remodel or just a cosmetic to get it off the books? I think that common sense plays the biggest part in this REO space. Being a solution. You find a problem, come back with them with the problem, but also come back to them with the solution. I'm finding that that's what the biggest thing that at least sets me apart from a lot of the different folks they work with, agents they work with, is identifying the problem and coming up with a solution, 2 or 3, and then we can tackle it. That's what I'm finding, is not just say, hey, here's a problem, keep me posted, let me know what you want to do, but actually being a full resource, knowing the city and the county ordinances, how it relates to vacant and or abandoned properties, being a resource for the asset management companies and these department heads. So that's what I'm finding is number one thing, is be a resource and be a problem solver.
Okay, I think that's perfect. I think that's something that I think we all do understand, and I think that's perfect advice.
Let me jump in, Eric, on that, because Robert, you're spot on. It's like the conversations we have with our clients, it's all about, they look at us as being the expert in the space, that we need to help guide them to making decisions. And you guys are boots on the ground experts, and then we rely on you to figure out and think through, okay, here's a problem, but it's not just that problem, it's the problem that is maybe 2 steps or 3 steps down the road past that problem as well, that you need to help us think through. Because when we talk to our clients, and we just had this call yesterday with one of our largest clients, and it's all about data and getting the best sales price and going through that analysis on the marketing plan. Is the turn worth it? Is it not worth it? Is the reflooring, the repainting, is it worth it? Not worth it? Again, we weigh that so heavily on your expertise to be able to put that in front of the client. I can't even tell you how important that is. And that's towards being the solution, right? A quick shout out, Robert, thanks for that. I think that was great.
Absolutely.
A quick shout out though, on the bid own homes, or back to the solution mindset. And what Eric was saying earlier, we know bid own homes is like any other platform. It has its shortcomings. It definitely takes a little bit of a learning curve with some of the applications. There are some structural situations where we know it doesn't function the way it needs to. And Barry's on here. Barry Tanner, I think, is still on. And honestly, Barry, I want to thank you. You sent us over a solution. I'm a big solution guy. I'm not a problem guy. What's the problem? You got a problem, what's the solution? He sent over his thoughts on a couple things. We presented that yesterday morning on a call. Before 4 o'clock that day, we had already had 2 more calls with departments that actually run that piece of it and had worked out a resolution to it. So Fantastic idea. It put us on an opportunity to actually, again, bring value to the client for how we're seeing this process work. So Barry, thanks for that. And I would throw that out to everybody else. If you're running into stuff, we know that it's not perfect, but if you have a solution or something you can think of that say, hey, by the way, if you did this, or I have some thoughts on that, that's what you want to email over to Eric. And then that way we can talk about it. And if it's something viable, we definitely present it to the client.
Yeah, I think that's really important, that we collaborate and that we keep this, and that's what makes our group unique, our network unique and powerful, is the fact that we do have these masterminds. Our clients love it because they know that we're communicating with our agents on a very regular basis, and they rely on you guys, obviously, as the boots on the ground. Jeff Russell jumped on today, and I did have a couple questions for Jeff. Jeff runs his own mastermind. Actually runs several masterminds, but he runs an all agent for any agent in the REO space once a month on the third Thursday of each month. But I know Jeff does a lot of prospecting. Jeff has a lot of lead sources, a lot of ways to find business. And I think that's, I'm not asking him to divulge all of his secrets, because I don't think he wants to, especially with competitors on the call. But one of the things that we do find from time to time, and I get this a lot, is from agents, is what other resources are out there for us. We want you to be successful in our network, but we know we've also started to collaborate with other groups through the REO Alliance. And by the way, everybody who posts on the REO Alliance, those posts are good for us to see. We appreciate them. There's a lot of scammers out there right now. We see this. We see a similar theme with the scammers. They're always asking for money. That should be your first clue, if it's a scam or not. But that's okay if you reach out to us. We just want you guys to be informed. But Jeff, can you talk a little bit about what you guys talk about in your masterminds and some of the things that maybe you could offer suggestion-wise to the agents on the call today?
Sure. Hello, everybody. And Regina Moore, who's shy, I'm going to call her out. Regina, thanks for being here. I know that someone was talking about how she's been so invaluable to them and their REO process. So thanks for being here, Regina. So to your question, yeah, as far as competition, I'm fine with that. I mean, most of my competition here today are friends, right? I feel sharing is caring. And this is probably a lot of our last REO wave. So, I want it to be a good, friendly one. And that's part of the reason why I do the masterminds once a month. So as far as other things I'm doing, I think Robert alluded to it. I just step away for a second, but I've been using Property Radar since it was Foreclosure Radar back in 2009. And I've had the subscription from then until now, and I use it almost daily. I get a lot of consumer leads from that that are in default, because everybody says, okay, there's a lot of it. People have a lot of equity. There's not going to be much or any REO. Well, there's still going to be people that are in default that can't pay their mortgage, right? Equity or not. So, I'm seeing those. I'm going after those consumers. I'm fishing upstream for those opportunities, right? And the way I'm getting those is I literally am cold calling. I use Mojo because I call expires and cancels every morning too. But I'm using Mojo and I'm just going through and I'm sending letters, handwritten letters to everybody in Orange County actually, that's in default. And I'm coming from a place of contribution, telling them that, I've been on the other side of this for so many years. I'd like to, I literally donate a few hours of my time weekly to figure out how I can save them from going into foreclosure. And some people on this call are probably going, wait, why are you doing that? Well, I just, like Robert said, I don't want to see people go into foreclosure, but when they do, I'd like the opportunity to help that beneficiary move that asset. So the yellow letters that are handwritten is something I'm doing using Property Radar. Property Radar, by the way, for anybody that uses it or hasn't used it in a while or hasn't used it at all, they're much, much more than they used to be back when they were Foreclosure Radar. There are so many, it'll do not handwritten letters, but it'll do mailers and all kinds of really cool stuff. So I, encourage you, if you're an REO agent, to reach out to Property Radar and get a demo of all the things it does. Because I've had it as long as I said I've had it, and I honestly didn't know it does some of the things it does. And like skip tracing, it gives you I think 50 or something like that per month as part of what you pay for, so for free. So a lot of things with Property Radar. Let's see what else. Oh, and then of course I'm following defaults, right? I'm looking at the ones that have low equity. We know that when those go to trustee sale, that the ones that have low equity, 20% or less, are probably going to go back to the investor. I have one that I've been chasing for a while. It's $3 million, and I saw I saw that it was going to go to sale Monday, and I was on the phone with the asset manager because I knew what company, and hey, can I do a BPO for you, right? So like right now, as soon as I get off this call, I got to finish a BPO on a property that I may not get the assignment on, but I'm going above and beyond, and I'm coming from a place of contribution and making that asset manager's job easier. And as Darren and Robert were saying earlier, when you can come with solutions and make their job easier, close on time so they get their bonuses, all that stuff, they're going to start, utilizing you more and more and more. And as we all know, most of us on this call, once you build a relationship with the asset manager, it's really hard for someone to come in and damage that relationship. So how's that
Well,
for an answer?
Yeah, that was a great answer. I appreciate that very much. So I just wanted to reach out to anybody else that's on the call today. If anybody has any suggestions or comments or contributions to the network today, you'd be happy to have take yourself off mute. Just provide that to us. Otherwise, we're going to be ending off here in just a couple minutes. But I want to definitely make that invitation to anybody on the call today, because as Jeff mentioned before, sharing is caring, and one of the things that we try to do as a group is to give you as much information. We try to overload you with information, and I always tell agents, especially the ones coming into my group or my organization, I can either underwhelm you or overwhelm you. I'd rather overwhelm you because you can pick and choose the information you're going to utilize. But if I underwhelm you, you're not gonna feel that we have very much value to offer to you. So, we do have a lot of value in our organization and our group and our network, and that's the power. But that's because we're a collective bank of knowledge, and that's really the true testament of this network that we have going on. So, does anybody have anything they wanted to add or contribute today?
Eric, I'll just add on real quickly. I love Jeff's recommendation of the BPO. What we've been doing, and we find out it really works well, is when that property goes to foreclosure and we know who the bank is getting it back, we go out with our phone and we use an app called Company Cam, and it takes video and it takes pictures. And more important than the BPO, because I'm sure they have their own BPOs throughout the foreclosure process, is we just give them an occupancy update. So we'll go up to the property, we'll let them know, hey, this property appears to be vacant. We can have a company out here get it rekeyed and secured for you, or we'll take pictures of the outside, or we'll knock on the door and let them know, hey, somebody's in the property. You're probably going to have to do eviction, on this one next. And so that is, video and something about the current status of the property as soon as they get it back is head and shoulders, in my opinion, beyond a BPO, because it shows that you already went out to the property, you know exactly where it is, what's going on with it, and giving them that insight. And so we just had one yesterday go to sale in Brighton for SPS, and that's exactly what I did. I went, knocked on the door, got the video. The grandmother and the daughter, or the granddaughter, are still there, and but they're planning on leaving. So, I let the bank know, hey, don't offer cash for keys yet. Sounds like they might be out in a week. I can go back out. So it's those value add things that you can bring to the table that just set you apart from everybody else. And so whether we get that, listing, like you said, Jeff, or not, it just shows that next time, hey, let me reach out to Ken and his team because they know what's going on in Denver or Brighton or wherever it may be.
Yeah, that's definitely proactive thinking. I love it.
Yeah, that's huge. I like that, Ken. Thanks for sharing that.
All right. Anything else from anybody else on the call? We have a lot of talent and experience, but I know that you guys probably have a busy day ahead of you too. But last call for any suggestions, any comments, anything else you want to ask Darren, Barry, Robert, Jeff, Regina. Regina's on the call. She's shy, but she'll open up her mic if you need her. All right. So, well, let's go ahead and end off the call. Again, thank
Hey,
you
Eric.
for. Go ahead.
Real quick, a couple people have been asking about what the name of the app is. They've been direct messaging me. It's Company Cam. So company and then CAM.com. You just go right out to their website. But everything is stored in the cloud forever. We do all of our photos, everything on there. It's a fantastic application that all the team uses it. So if I've got 5 or 6 agents, I can see their photos throughout the day. And then our TC just grabs them as soon as they're out the property. They send her a note right inside the app. She gets notification and she can fill out the form and it can be done before they're even back in the office. So we've been using it for about 2 years. It's a fantastic tool. It's not cheap, but if you're doing a lot of inspections out in the field, you can't go wrong with Company Cam. Date stamps it, does the video, everything's stored in the cloud. It's a really great app. So that's it.
Okay, so that's an app for yourself, for your smartphone.
It's both on the smartphone, Android, and then it's got a desktop version as well.
Okay.
And again, if you're putting photos in BPOs, it's got a Chrome extension that you just click and then just drag and drop. It makes it a lot faster to do the BPOs or the weekly vacant property inspections, that type of thing.
Okay, cool. No, I
Nice.
appreciate that. Well, anything else from anybody else on the call? I don't want to leave you guys hanging. If there's something else you want to talk about, you guys, Darren, Barry, you guys good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Thanks.
Barry, I'll be able to use your pool soon.
What you say, Jeff?
I'm teasing Barry. I said I'll be able to use your new pool soon.
Yeah,
Cannonball. Yeah. Hey, just a big yell out to Regina. Thank you for all you do. She's definitely a rock star. I think one thing, and I've been doing this for about 34 years, and I'm a big believer that the pie gets bigger. And what I mean by that is sharing ideas like Ken just did, and like Jeff just did, and like we're looking like Robert was doing. I mean, we're not hurting ourselves by giving you guys information. I mean, honestly, it just helps everybody. And we all look for ways to enhance each other's work and business. It's unique. And if you've been in the business like I have, as long as I have, you've been in offices and companies and groups that you know that it is unique. So I just want to say thanks, Eric, for pulling this together. I think once a month when we have these, it's great. It's nice to have these experts on, and that's how I look at you guys, our boots on the ground experts. Without you guys, we can't do what we do. And the fact that you show up and share your ideas and thoughts with everybody is wonderful. Appreciate that. And I think it just goes in line with what our theme is. We just want to continue to offer value. And at the end of the day, people are going to want to use us. It's just that simple. And our business is going to continue to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. So well said. All right, well, I'm gonna let you guys go. This was recorded. The YouTube, it's gonna be put up on our YouTube channel. So if you want to go to our YouTube, I just threw the link in the text box there. So I'll just keep the meeting open for a couple of minutes. Anybody wants to grab that. If anybody has any questions, comments, email me, text me.
I figured it out how to take myself off of mute. I couldn't figure it out.
There you go, Regina.
Oh, hey, Regina.
I'm so sorry. I couldn't figure out how to get this stupid phone off mute.
Oh, just ask me next time. I can remove you. No problem.
But I just wanted to let you all know I appreciate everybody as well as you appreciate me. I am here for you 24/7 if you need me. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me. Okay. Anything.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Regina.
Yeah.
So all right, guys.
I appreciate you. I've been doing this for over 40 years, and I was taught that agents their job is to list and sell. My job is to take care of everything else. So that's my mindset.
That's right.
Man, that's great. Thanks, Regina, for all you do. Appreciate
No
you.
problem.
Thank you, Regina.
No problem.
Thank you,
So,
guys.
All
Thanks,
right,
everybody.
we'll see everybody.
Good to see you all.
I'm gonna throw the discount code in the chat also for Heath.
All right.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
All right. Thank
Thanks,
you.
see y'all.
Bye.
Hey, Sam.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Sam.
Heath, I can't find it right away. I'll text it to you, Heath. You guys have a good rest of the day. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.